so we have with us Akriti, just Akriti, as she has said. So she is doing her PhD here at ISAB Pune, and she works in a lab which is called as Population Biology Lab. So her guide is Professor Sutit Dey, who works on interesting questions about population dynamics. Okay, how do populations evolve? And she is going to talk about a very important question that we all have, especially with the background of the AI talk, that are humans still evolving? Then we can think of how AI is going to affect that evolution or not. So let's welcome Akriti, and it's all yours.
Well,
Hello everyone, I'm Akriti, a PhD student at Population Biology Lab here in ISAB Pune. Are you all comfortable in English? I guess so. So if there is... it's okay, I'll continue this presentation in English and I'll use Hindi as well. So if there is some language issues. So as you all know, today we are going to address a very interesting question, which is, are humans still evolving? What is your opinion on this?
yeah, yes.
Okay, so you know that we are evolving. You must have heard the word evolution in your biology classes. What do you understand by evolution? Anyone? Like when you hear the term evolution, what is the general idea that comes to your mind?
Take it out there.
Very nice. Okay, yeah, that's correct. So we can simply put evolution as a process. Evolution is a process of gradual change. So as we are going to discuss human evolution today, so let's have a brief look that from where we have come into existence.
Okay.
From where have we come? Like from where humans have come.
The statement
Is this picture visible to you all?
is
So around 3.5 billion years ago, life arose from non-living matters. That is around 350 crores years ago. Then eukaryotic cell came into existence, and after few diversifications, mammals came into existence. We all know what mammals are. Mammals are those organisms who have milk-producing mammary glands, who feed their young ones milks. And then after like around 30 lakh years ago, that is 3 million years ago, genus Homo came into existence, जो हमारे पूर्वज हैं, जो हम कहते हैं हमारे पूर्वज जो बंदरों जैसे दिखते थे, that is genus Homo. And then around 2 lakh years ago, Homo sapiens, that is the current modern humans, they came into existence. So this is how we came into existence. अब हम काफ़ी evolve हो गए हैं. We are better adapted to our environment. So do you think we should stop evolving, or have we stopped evolving?
no.
We have not stopped evolving. So you are right, we have not stopped evolving. So how do you think we are evolving? If you say that we are evolving, then how would you like back up your answer?
It's a one. The national.
Can you think of anything that tells us that we are still evolving?
I'm pretty sure AI can. So I did.
It says
Okay, I was referring to features and humans. Yes, you are saying something?
Nowadays, carbon mosality, which is present,
Huh?
I think to start, like it's not there in the wild. So like it's a birth of evolution. It is disappearing. The modalities.
Are you sure you are referring to molar? Because as far as I know, premolars are absent in newborns. And that is the thing, like our dental formula is... I guess you are confusing with wisdom tooth. That is the molar thing. That is a very good example. So we'll see, we are developing new characters in this process of evolution. And we'll see what are those characters that we are developing. So, have you ever thought that why people around the different corner of worlds have different skin pigmentation?
pictures of Asian
Radiation,
method.
melanin. Okay, so melanin is the normal biological answer that we give, that there is a difference in melanin concentration due to which there is difference in skin pigmentation. So this is a picture of models around the world, and as we can see that they all have different skin tone. That is, they have different skin pigmentation because of difference in melanin concentration. How did this happen? So, because of the fossil records, we know that early humans originated somewhere in Africa, and they started migrating out of Africa and dispersed around the world. Around the world, there were different environmental conditions, and these environmental conditions are mainly because of different in sunlight exposure to those different areas. Like जहाँ पे ज़्यादा sunlight होती है, वहाँ पे गर्मी होती है, वो area गर्म होता है. जहाँ पे sunlight exposure कम होता है, वहाँ पे ठंडी होती है. So have you noticed any pattern कि जहाँ पे ज़्यादा गर्मी पड़ती है, वहाँ के लोगों का skin pigmentation कैसा होता है? डार्क होता है. जहाँ पे ज़्यादा ठंडी पड़ती है, वहाँ के लोगों का skin pigmentation fair, हाँ, lighter skin tone होता है उनका. So we'll see what is the reason behind this. So this is a graph which shows the difference. Am I still audible? So this is a graph which shows the difference in skin pigmentation around the world and difference in UV radiation around the world. So when I am referring to sunlight, I am referring to this UV part of the sunlight. तो आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे ऊपर लाइट है, नीचे कुछ जगह पे डार्क है स्किन पिगमेंटेशन. यहाँ पे जहाँ लाइट कलर्स है, यहाँ पे यूवी रेडिएशन कम है, और जहाँ ये रेडिश एरिया है, वहाँ पे यूवी रेडिएशन ज़्यादा है उन एरियाज में. सो एज वी हैव डिस्कस्ड ऑलरेडी, जहाँ पे यूवी रेडिएशन कम है, वहाँ पे स्किन टोन लाइट है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे स्किन पिगमेंटेशन जो है वो लाइट है. जहाँ पे यूवी रेडिएशन ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पे स्किन पिगमेंटेशन डार्क है. दिस इज बिकॉज एरियाज विथ हाई ultraviolet radiations, people of those areas have evolved for darker skin tones, like they have larger concentration of melanin to prevent folate degradation. Do you have any idea what folate is? Anyone? So folate is a water soluble vitamin B9. So the vitamin B9 which is present in our body, which is folate, plays very crucial role in human fertility. So to prevent degradation of folate, which is because of UV radiation, people of those areas have evolved darker skin tone, like they have larger concentration of melanin. Melanin क्या करता है? Melanin जो है वो UV radiation को absorb कर लेता है या फिर तो scatter कर देता है. It doesn't allow the UV radiation to penetrate deep inside the skin, so that it won't be able to degrade much of the folate. So this was variation in skin pigmentation due to change in environmental conditions, which arose somewhere around 70,000 years ago. पर ये तो हुई 70,000 साल पहले की बात. इसके बाद भी आपको लगता है अभी भी evolution हो रहा है? Yes. Humans are still migrating to different part of world, and they are still exploring new environment. So it means we are still evolving. We are. कोई recent example पता है आपको? Like this example was pretty old. Let's have a look at a recent example. Can you see the picture clearly? Enter. So you can look at your screens closer to yours. So these are small kids at the bottom of sea. आप सोच रहे होंगे कि ये छोटे छोटे बच्चे without any fancy gears bottom पे क्या कर रहे हैं? So these are deep sea divers of Bajau community. There is a special community known as Bajau community. ये उसके बच्चे हैं. And why are we discussing them? Let's No. So this is the location of Bajau people. They are mainly found near Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, coastal areas, island and sea. ये बगल में आप देख रहे हैं, समुद्र में घर बना के ये लोग समुद्र में ही रहते हैं. And like they are totally dependent on sea for their everything, all daily normal routine. You must be wondering why these fraction of people are living in sea. So there is a very interesting folklore which goes like, बहुत साल पहले ये लोग जमीन पे ही रहते थे. एक राजा था in the kingdom of Johor. उसकी एक बेटी थी. And the princess went off in a storm. एक बहुत जोर का तूफान आया जिसमें वो प्रिंसेस उस तूफान के साथ बह गई और वो सी में चली गई. फिर राजा ने अपने लोगों को आदेश दिया कि जाके प्रिंसेस को खोज के लाओ. लोग गए खोजने और जब उन्हें प्रिंसेस नहीं मिली, so they got scared. उन्हें लगा कि अगर हम बिना प्रिंसेस को लिए जाएंगे तो राजा बहुत गुस्सा होगा and he'll punish us for this. तो उस डर की वजह से ये वापस भी अपने किंगडम गए ही नहीं और ये समुद्र में आए थे उनको खोजने और समुद्र में ही रह गए. So this is the story which goes around 1000 years back. तब से ये population यहीं पे रह रही है.
Yes.
So why are we discussing these people? They are normally called as sea nomads because they are very different from me and you. And how are they different? These are people who are able to swim before they can walk because they live in the sea. That is their like necessity. They have to learn to swim. Walking is secondary thing there. Swimming is the primary one. They can dive up to depth of 70 meters without any fancy gears easily. So a normal diver goes up to 40-meter depth. But these people, like, they can easily go up to 70 meters. They spend 60% of their working time underwater. And there was a competition held for diving in August 2013 and the deepest dive recorded was 79 meters. All these facts are based on a study, the reference I have put in the last. So these people normally have the ability to hold their breath for so long underwater because they have to dive deeper. And what makes these people special? Like,
Yeah.
from where do they get their swimming superpower? Let's find out. So there were many studies done on these Bajau people, and there was a comparative study between Salwan people, a normal population, and Bajau people. And it was found that the spleen of Bajau people was 50% larger than a normal person's spleen. What does that mean? So as we normally know that spleen is, in common terms, storehouse for RBCs. It stores RBCs. And RBCs has hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, what? Oxygen transport. Yes, so hemoglobin transports oxygen in the body. So bigger the spleen, larger the oxygen content in the body. So when they dive deeper, they'll be needing that oxygen. So this makes sense. So this has occurred due to this selection of PDE10A gene, which results for bigger spleen. So this was like how our environment is shaping our evolution. Apart from our environment, there are other factors which shape our evolution.
Kirby.
Can you think of anything? The kind of food we eat also shape that what will become.
Golden effort. That's right. Region.
Why do we eat food? A basic primary level question. For energy, very good. And from where do we get energy? Like,
Almost this one. I did the same on city collecting.
no, from food. Carbohydrates, protein, fats, micro and macro, very good. So we eat food for those nutrients which are of various types, but our body is not able to digest all those nutrients. Like there is a particular carbohydrate found in some algae, porphyrin, which our body is not able to digest. But there is a specific population of human which is able to digest that porphyrin. Any guesses what that population could be?
that was.
Japanese people, very good. I have quite smart audience. So Japanese people are able to digest that. Let's find out how. So this is Porphyra, a red algae, which is commonly called nori in Japan, and it is a very important nutritional seaweed which is used very commonly in Japanese cuisine. So people of Japan, they eat it very often, and then there is this marine bacteria. Marine gives us the idea of its habitat, which would be seawater. So this red algae is present in sea, and this marine bacteria stays on that algae, and when people of Japan eat that algae with their food, something happens. And what is that something? The gene of this bacteria get transferred to the gene of human gut bacteria. So like gene transfer from this bacteria to that bacteria happens. And because of that, this bacteria has the ability to digest the carbohydrate present in these algae. And this bacteria help whom? Humans, obviously, Japanese people. So now this gene is being passed on from parents to their offsprings. So Japanese people have this ability to digest some special kind of carbohydrates which rest of us cannot digest. So this is what we have discussed today, that how our environment and the food we eat shape our evolution. So the message to take home after today's session is, what was our question from where we have started?
Sorry.
Are we still evolving? What would be the answer to that question?
Indeed.
Yes, humans are still evolving. And the next question was, where are we going? So the answer to this question is, there is no final destination with any prefixed plan. However, our environment will change, our body will adapt to those changes, and will continue evolving in that direction. Organisms continue to evolve in order to survive better in the changing environment, like these Bijaus and Japanese people were doing so. Other points to keep in mind about evolution is, evolution is a process rather than a result. So like, it's not something that will start from here and will end at some point. It is the continuous process. Evolution does not have a fixed path or plan. The environment we live in, food we eat, are some of the factors which influence how we will evolve. And I would like to end this discussion with a quote from Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to the changes. On that note, I'm ending this presentation. Also, I would like to thank
Yes, Science Activity Center.
Science Activity Center, my PI, and ISO Pune for providing me this opportunity.
Yes. Any questions? Yes.
I have one question which might sound a little dumb.
It's fine.
What is the significance of the question itself? Are humans evolving?
Okay.
I mean, what is the difference if we say yes or no?
You want to ask after him, or you want to add something to this question? Okay, you are raising it. Okay, fine. Yeah, so the point was, if you could recall my second slide.
I think it take a long time. Understand?
This picture. So as you can see, we have come from, if we start our journey, we have come from non-living matter, and we have evolved into this complex human being, and throughout the journey we have crossed multiple stages. So now one might think that now we are the best, like we have everything we need to survive comfortably in our environment. Now we are walking on two legs, we are eating the food we want, we are superior than other organisms, which one might think as I quote. So my question was addressing to that thing, that we cannot think that we are the superior, like we have reached the pinnacle of evolution. There is no such thing as pinnacle of evolution.
This is not a direction.
It's not a directional thing.
Is it possible
Yes.
the words of evolution as going backwards in the question?
So there is,
I'm asking because there are some mutations.
here.
This is a relation. I think that's why.
So there is a thing known as retrogressive evolution.
But
And the mutations which you were referring to, they are very random.
Yeah. But they are degenerative or negative.
So it doesn't mean that we are going backwards, which I guess your question was.
okay.
If you could reframe your question, please.
And
I'm waiting the reverse of evolution. Evolution.
So, like, are you asking that, is it possible if we...
What adaptation to the proper adaptation.
So, are you referring that we'll go back on this thing, like...
Yeah. It's a physics possible.
I don't think so. Like, if there is... I do not have the right answer for this, but in my personal opinion, I don't think we will ever go backward in this direction.
I have a question.
yes.
So I have two quick questions. First is that how does the body know? You gave the folate example that there's increased melanin to preserve the folate. So how does the body know that it has to bring about this evolution? And does it happen in one generation across multiple generations? And my second question is the examples you gave of the Japanese and the Indonesian, they're a little far removed from us. Does that mean that we have perhaps also evolved a need, for example, me and you, vis-a-vis our previous generation, we don't realize or we don't have that understanding yet. So I might be a little different than my forefathers.
Yeah, okay. What your question? So, your first question, addressing to your first question, which was how does the body knows? So there is a famous vitamin D folate hypothesis, so which is a delicate balance. So I have not mentioned it here because it was a little confusing, but if you are asking, so there is a thing, you have understood how folate is being degraded and stuff, and we need some amount of UV because it acts as a catalyst for vitamin D synthesis. So for the process of formation of vitamin D from cholesterol in our body, we need UV for that. So there is a balance within our body. So our body senses that how much UV is required for that vitamin D synthesis and how much would be more than enough so that it would start degrading folate.
So this is not a temperature change of following temperature. So it gets passed
On to, like, the change is passed on to generations and it's existing in the population. And your second question was, could you please repeat that again? Our example, okay, yeah. So there I have found many things which suggested that even Indian population is still evolving, but I couldn't I couldn't find many scientific work done on those fields, and I have found enough scientific work in this field, so that's why I have used these examples. But there are other things also, we could always look at them.
How many generations are required to make the change in the genetics?
There is no such fixed generational thing. I think it depends from trait to trait. Which trait is easily getting involved in DNA and is easy to pass on, which is taking longer than that. You were asking something.
What do you think about the direction of evolved? Is it old or is it?
You are asking my personal opinion.
Yes.
So there is no, as I might have mentioned, there is no particular path of evolution. There is no fixed direction of evolution. It is different for different organisms. So like the environment you live in, if you start from a single family and let's imagine you and your brother, and you start in two different environments, and then after many generations, you will evolve differently, your brother will evolve differently. So like there is no fixed path, this is the right path to evolution.
That means the sir just mentioned that the generation that we need to evolve. Does that think that the two generations are enough to
So like on our level, because human beings are complex beings, I don't think the answer is 2 generations is not enough to say a thing that this trait has been evolved.
adopt that environment and everything?
Huh?
Other than that, there's a enough for their body and everything.
No, 2 generations is not enough. We need the record for subsequent longer generations.
It's been things like that. They support me and my brother things Japan and he's in Malaysia also. So he tells he will adopt to their sin with their culture, with their environment, and I will adopt to the another like Japan. So does that mean this with the sites? Like I adopt Japan, Malaysia and comes to Japan. Then we have some contacts like he won't make in the same environment.
So this is not evolution. Like if he has been living there for subsequent, like for many generations, so after many generations, like many generations, his offsprings will have certain traits which would be different from your offsprings living in some extreme different environment, which would be like, which give them the ability to survive better in that environment. But what you were referring to, like switching places,
Yes.
and then
And that he adopted the environment that
so the temporary thing our body does, it will keep doing that, and it's something known as phenotypic plasticity. Let's not go in that. It comes in a different frame.
then to our body and going on particular these cells under the vitamins.
Yeah. So all this thing that evolution, which the big things which we see that they had bigger spleen than other people. If you remember the Bajau people. So I have mentioned the gene. The evolution in that gene was happening, and it was causing the bigger spleen in those populations. So it all occurs at the molecular level.
Another question.
We don't evolve to new species anymore. I was to say, it's unfit, small, minors, every.
So this is a very interesting question to think on, that will we evolve in some other species? So right now we are not evolving in some other species, we are just adapting to our environment and developing certain traits. But
So many years it seems.
for the last 2 lakh years, which I was referring to, Homo sapiens, when Homo sapiens arose, but like if we look at the bigger picture for the bigger time scale, we never know.
Nice.
Adaptability of is the adaptability of an individual and evolution related somehow.
Yes, that's what this.
No, like adaptability. Let's say I go to some place and I adapt to the Wakili region. Is that a part of evolution?
So that's what we said. We were discussing it before, that not like only you are adapting to a particular environment. That is not evolution. Like you have to pass on those traits to your offsprings for subsequent generations. You were asking.
Adaptability and evolution are not the same.
So adapting to your environment is results for the evolution
It's over general.
over generations.
Then the rate of adaptability
How fast are we adapting to our environment?
on shape.
So I didn't get your question. Like,
So only 2 people A and B are going to like the rate at which they adapt be a trait born from evolution.
so the population which is adapting to that particular environment faster will evolve faster, and like they'll survive. And that's what happened with dinosaurs, right? Like if you're not able to adapt
The rate of adaptability of an individual,
of an individual,
would that be a trait?
I think what he's asking is rate of adaptability and inherited factor.
Could I?
I don't think he is mentioning inheritance anywhere. So are you considering inheritance in the picture?
So he's asking if if there's 2 individuals, me and him, so if will we have different rates of adaptabilities, and are they a part of evolution in the context of inheritance?
They are not part of evolution, but they will affect your evolution. Like they'll shape your evolution.
I'll get close to the other side.
Good evening, ma'am. First of all, I want to say I thoroughly enjoyed the lecture.
Thank you so much.
So, ma'am, nowadays a very
It's fine.
no, ma'am, out of respect.
Thank you.
So, a very controversial thing that I'm reading about nowadays in terms of evolution biology, it's coming back. It's been a very old thing. Is eugenics. So, does it have any scientific basis, or should we just completely disregard that theory?
I'm sorry I missed you in between. Like
Eugenics, the concept of
eugenics. Huh?
So in evolution biology, it's something that's been very controversial. So does it have any scientific basis, or is it just like, can we disregard it?
So like eugenics is a part of science. So it has scientific basis. I am not getting what you are trying to ask. So
Ma'am,
we cannot just
Because right
ignore
now
the
there has
concept.
been a lot of controversy that's saying it's solely based on nothing and it should be utterly disregarded. So I'm just asking your personal opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't heard of any such controversy, so I have no idea on that.
Thank you for your time, ma'am.
We don't think Hanuman is a missing equipment that one because we are not getting that missing it. Because if the human is evolved from monkey, so we should see something in.
So humans have not evolved from monkeys.
Where? Like my parents started with.
So this family hominidae, they are known as great apes. So some members from this family emerged into monkeys and some into humans. So like humans have not evolved from monkeys.
Actually, and we are not able to get that one.
I don't get.
Like Australopithecus and Ramapithecus are missing links between you and that. Because they have shown
So Australopithecus are also under genus Homo. So they're not missing link.
the links. So they're not missing, but they are the links between.
They are the links. People keep coming up with their theories and scientists do work on those theories to find evidence. So whenever we'll find sufficient evidence, we can claim that. Right now, sir, I don't think Hanuman is the missing link between us and
It's very similar to the one week. It's in mythology.
So but again, that is mythology and this is science. So we cannot bring that in science.
Yeah.
I just said this. Use the rate of evolution.
Advances in stem cell therapy
Okay.
in healthcare.
Yeah. They reduce the rate of evolution.
You are asking it in which context?
So the rate of natural selection will reduce your treating ability that I can disorder.
Okay, we are like selecting things artificially, you mean? Okay.
As that reduce the rate of evolution, and is it a good thing?
Again, if you are asking for my personal opinion, I think STEM is a good thing, but I do not have any.
Scientific knowledge that how it's affecting your solution. So at this moment, I cannot come to it. Well, still, I cannot hear the question. Any intervention by says could be in the but I know other alcohol seems to be with answer skip up things. So if you can say that in with any question with hard stock event thing good to it, thought and hurting. I just want to say that.
It's fine. I will look into it.
I had a question. So, like, there is this Jarawa tribe in the Andaman and Nicobar regions, and so many tribes there. And we have this muscle in our wrist called the palmaris longus. So, it used to help apes and all these animals to climb the trees, the arboreal animals. And the Jarawa tribe, because they live in the jungle, they climb trees every day, that specific muscle isn't degenerating as fast. And
It's not degenerating.
is not degenerating because they use it regularly.
Yeah.
While us general population in Pune, assuming that none of us are rock climbers or mountain climbers,
Yes.
that muscle in us is degenerating like at
At a faster rate.
Yes. Let's say at like 10% of us decide to join a mountaineering club. Will that rate be affected significantly?
So like, no, not significantly because evolution doesn't work on a smaller time span in general.
Not as in like us, the 10%, then our future generations.
Like after many generations you are referring to, yes. So if we will like adapt to an environment where we are supposed to climb rocks, and if we would continue to live in that, so in order to adapt better to our environment, we will evolve in that direction. So there are high chances that we will stop, like our body will stop degenerating that muscle you are referring to.
Not like permanently live in that region, like a hobby, acquire it as a hobby, and we regularly practice.
So no, this brings to the concept of good muscles of athletes, but they are not able to pass because they do it as a game or a hobby, if you consider. So they do not pass those strong muscles or good body to their offspring for many generations. So that is not evolution. If you start to live there permanently, continuously, then there might be the chance. But like if you keep coming and going to and fro, that won't be the case.
Any more questions? No questions? I think she answered your question.
About the Indian context, about a similar example. I think she answered your question because she came up with an example. That was very nice.
So there are many other examples, like there is a particular tribe in Philippines which are short-heighted people, and there are many other examples like that.
Nice.
So, okay, I guess we are done for the day?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.